You are live. All right, viewers, people, comrades, frenemies, all the rest, whatever you want to call yourselves. It's all cool. Because we cool people in here. D-I-N-G-O, D-I-N-G-O, D-I-N-G-O. And Dingo was his name, yo. Bro. Oh, what? Okay, so I've got a few people in with me. That's not too bad. Lisa F. Hello. How are you? Waiting for some people to come along here. See if we can have a wee chat about the Church of Corona. We're going to spread the gospel. And hopefully everybody will be enlightened. Maybe do some healing. Who knows? Joking aside, folks, thought we'd just do my first live stream on my new channel under my new name, Bloody Dingo. Scooby Doom has been euthanized. He's been put to sleep. His memory lives on. But it was time. So, Bloody Dingo it is, folks. And on that note, what's everybody been up to? There's Kickstand there. Ghost. All right, Ghost, what about you? Kickstand. How's Tricks? Ooh, we're getting some people watching. Flip me, I've even managed to get a thumbs down. Can you believe that? Somebody so somebody's actually subscribed to me just to give me a thumbs down. Oh man, how funny is that? How sad that I've taken up some space in your head that you've came to do that. Funny. All right, I'm going to drop a link in the chat here, folks. May as well get started. And anybody who wants to join, they're more than welcome to join in. Anybody starts being an arsehole, it will not be tolerated. I've got a few moderators there, and to the moderators, all I'll say is if somebody's pissing you off enough, hit them with a friggin' just block them. And next time I'll unblock them from the stream. I'll unblock them after I'm finished. But because we're just here for a bit of crack, We're not here for drama, folks. No room for drama. Although some people would like to have it, but no. So if anybody feels that they want to come and have a chat with me, you're more than welcome. Please do. Don't be shy. Link is out there. Or is everybody too shy? I don't imagine I'll get the high numbers I used to get on the Scooby streams, but this being my first stream and I've only got like 20 subscribers or something. So it's going to have a wee talk about the COVID situation. Um, now, I'm not wanting to talk about is it is it real, is it a hoax, and all that crap, because that's completely irrelevant at this stage. It really is. It doesn't matter. That's really not the point or issue anymore. Not in my mind, anyway. Um, what matters is the media is constantly pumping out news stories around it. The governments are constantly having um, oh crap, I can't even think of a name, like a conference type thing about the subject and telling us how many people have died and trying to explain why they haven't got PPE and all that stuff, you know. Hey, ice cream day. Not somebody I recognise, I must admit. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and then today I heard a doctor talking about the latest developments in side effects that COVID is having on patients, and why it's being so deadly and things like that. There, so I just thought I'd have a wee chat, wee chin wag, folks, wee chin wag. Talk about some simple things. We don't need to get into a whole big, you know, it's this or that. At this point in the game, I'm more concerned about the lasting effects and the day by day effects we're feeling at the minute. I'm in my, I think I'm in my fourth week, going into my fifth week of lockdown. I think that's what it is. I honestly don't know. It feels longer. Um, the only real person that I get to spend any time with would be my mother. Because I have to go up there twice a day to her. So other than that, it's just doing your shopping and back to the house and sit in the house all day. Now, at the same time, I haven't seen a huge police presence. I haven't seen anybody pulled over or anything like that there, and I haven't seen any type of civil disobedience, except for I believe there was a couple of 5G towers or phone masts, telephone masts, mobile phone masts burnt down a week or two ago or something. Sorry, I didn't even see you there. I didn't use that. Nah, sorry about that, folks. Ghost and Zero are in the chat.
And we're live.
All right.
How's it going?
Sorry, I didn't even see my mind. You go blank. I'm not used to using Streamlabs or whatever. Not Streamlabs, StreamYard, whatever that one's called. I StreamYard. So you forget that you have to add them in, even
Oh
though,
yeah. You gotta be looking out for it.
yeah, I was on a wee tangent there. So I was. But what do you think about all this nonsense at the minute and where it's going? And
I like your point about it being irrelevant at this point,
yeah,
whether
it
it's
is.
real or not. I really like that because you're right. We're past this right now. What we need to look at is what the signs are telling us in the future and collapse, the cashless society coming in. All this stuff plays into the plans that we've longed to look at for a long time. Seeing as we talked about the many different facets of how the one world government gets implemented. And what are all the the things that they want to do that. So I really think that this is part of that narrative. We just didn't know how it was going to happen back then. I always thought it was going to be at the force of a gun, or maybe an outside source, like maybe the UN coming in and putting troops on the ground from other countries to enforce. And that still may happen, with martial law and everything. So we don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure that that's still a piece of the puzzle that we're yet to see.
I can't imagine Trump willfully letting the troops into America to control American citizens. I just can't see it happening.
Yeah,
Not Trump doing it, but who knows?
Yeah, the whole idea back years ago when we were discussing how the martial law would come into place, and the idea that UN troops on the ground would be the enforcers, because you can't have, according to the American Constitution, that we're not supposed to have troops are no standing armies. I think is the gist of it. That we're not supposed to use our own troops against our own people. So that's why I was thinking that it would have been UN backed troops or something like that. But Trump's very much a part of all of this plan, and he's a part of the whole global corporate network. So he's just a puppet. So it's not him. He has no real authority. He signs the bills that he's a puppet on strings.
Yeah,
and I'm actually sure that all the corporate leaders are like that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got the impression of Boris Johnson that he was kind of really holding back in what he wanted, about lockdown and all the rest of it. He just didn't seem like he wanted to really participate in doing it, but obviously he did do it in the end. The media kind of, him and Trump, the media kind of hounded them into having to do it. They left it, so there was no choice. But
I think you can look at every government, or AKA corporation around the world. You'll see that if they're playing on board with the propaganda of the pandemic, then they're on board with the rest of the world in that regard.
Well, it's interesting. Like, I was looking at the world map tonight there, and it's interesting when you go around all the kind of the top European countries in America. I mean, and India are being hit hard by Corona, but not so much everywhere else now. Everywhere else is kind of like maybe 1,000 cases or 1,000 deaths or something like that there, or as low as 20 something. So I don't know how that works out, and then half of China gets skipped out altogether nearly. That's what always makes me a wee bit cynical. Maybe they're just better at washing their hands than us. I don't know. But
well, and if you consider that supposedly the CIA had installed Mao back in the 50s, it seems like that they were in the same network. I think they may be like a prototype as far as governmental control and all that goes, and that prototype for what the rest of the world could look like. And certainly North Korea could be thrown in the mix with that too. That would be the more extreme end of it. But if they're all playing the same game, it's just a matter of how they're going to put it together.
Oh, I think that's already planned out. I think that's all organized. I mean, this stuff's been in the planning for years.
Decades.
Yeah, I mean, when you go back and look at, there's one there. There's a story, a book written called The Titan, and it was written so many years before the Titanic was built, and then the Titanic sunk. And it's pretty much like a for like story, and that's not a coincidence. That it's obviously a pre-plan. So the author must have either been in on it, or the people who built the Titanic read the book and thought, "Oh, let's have a laugh here."
And
I
there were some influential people on that on the Titanic as well. That
yeah,
people
yeah.
that were influential and against maybe their narrative. So yeah, it's possible that they sank the boat just for that purpose. So I don't. That can be skeptical. I mean, I don't see like the captain of the ship steering it into an iceberg on purpose, and he didn't survive. So I'm a little skeptical on that.
Yeah, well, he was pushed, wasn't he? He was pushed in to try and get a break a record or whatever at the time of the quickest crossing and
Right.
whatnot on our maiden voyage. Like she wouldn't have been ready for it. Um, but I mean, there's lots of things through history that it's pre-planned, it's orchestrated, it's whenever you look back at America and the founding fathers, and you find out, so many of them were involved with the Freemasons. There were high up members, or the highest. So you know that there's only like a couple of organizations that I think that can pull this type of stuff off over a period of hundreds of years, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like it's either religion or the likes of the Freemasons. And when I say
Right.
Freemasons, I don't obviously mean everybody. I mean the inner core of it, because that's a generational thing that's passed on from generation to generation, and they can certainly you know enlist people in and plan events for the future. When you look at one of the movies people decoded a lot whenever Trump was going for presidency was Back to the Future 2, I think. It was Back to the
Mm-hmm.
Future 2. And, there was all that coding about Trump was Biff and, you know, the numbers and all the rest of it. Like, and you have to say to yourself, well, who made that movie? And I think Spielberg made that one, didn't he? I think. Was Spielberg made Back to the Future? Maybe not. Maybe it's the other guy. But anyway, he ever made it. I wrote the story for it. They must have been in on it. Like they must have, the influence must have been there in order for us to be able to look back and say, "Ooh, this was coded in." And I always question the channels who, discover this. Like you're sitting watching Trump campaign for presidency, and somebody brings out, at the coding video on Back to the Future 2, and you're like, "What the hell?" Like, I mean, I hadn't seen that movie in years. And you were able to pull that out of your hat and go through all this decoding process, and it makes me think, okay, well, you're here on purpose. You're purposely being shown things. David Icke is one of those characters. I feel David Icke is definitely one of those characters who is made to look like a bit of a nutcase at times, but ultimately, I believe he's spreading the message that they want told. And when I say that, I mean in the 1%, the top.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at his topics that he goes over, one of the things about the Freemasons and all, when you go through the initiation process and all the rest of it, there's part of it is like humiliation. Well, David Icke probably had the biggest humiliation in introduction to the world stage than anybody in history, because he went on the television. And I can remember watching this interview live at the time. I was a child, like, but my mum, she was watching it at the time. I was in the house, I was sitting watching it. It was on a show called Terry Wogan. It was like a chat show. And of course, David Icke came out and they were talking, and he declared that he was the Son of God on national TV. To like at that time would have easily been at least 17, 20 million viewers. which was a huge chunk because we only had something like back then. Sky TV wouldn't have even been on the go then for us. You're talking 4 channels on TV was all we had. So BBC One was a big player back then, and everybody would have been tuning in to watch it. So he had a huge humiliation uh, introduction, so to say, and
Yeah, certainly he would be controlled opposition, and I watched a lot of his documentaries early in the 2000s, and I was on board with what he was saying for a long time. But then when Alex Jones, when I figured out that he was controlled op, and then you had Alex Jones and David Icke chatting it up together on streams or on on his podcast or whatever. You had to put two and two together. So yeah, David Icke, the humiliation that you're talking about is part of the a way to discredit him, on public stage. And I'm sure he was on board with it because he knew he was going to be one of those talking heads for the, I guess that's the likes of the conspiracy theorists. So it makes sense that they would do that to discredit him right off the bat.
Yeah, well, I mean, he went away and he was made a joke of. That hit him, and he still talks about it in that respect. That people still come up the street and comment about it. But at the end of the day, if you'd have told me even 20 years ago that David Icke would end up writing all these books and he would become like, certainly in the UK at the minute, he's like the biggest figure that's been talking about OG, 5G, and a few other conspiracies of who's behind it and all this crap. And he's been on a few big TV shows. He's seen his videos getting taken down, his channel taken down, and or something along those lines recently as well. And you just wouldn't have believed it that he would have turned into this figurehead of the truth movement, so to speak, if there is such a thing. But I mean, I firmly believe that the truth movement, as we all see it and know it out there, is controlled, full stop. I think the big players in it are controlled opposition or, just people more or less looking for money. So, Renee, did you see the link?
Didn't realize I was muted. The control. I put the link in the Hangout for her so she can get it if it leaves the chat. If they control both sides of every war, and say Alex Jones' channel is InfoWars, right? If we're in the information war, they want to control both sides of that war too.
Yep.
So
yep.
they're gonna mislead us and with misinformation, disinformation. So anybody that's a figurehead of the quote unquote truth movement or truth community, those people you have to be skeptical of, especially when they're on. I think when the audience gets to the thousands, that's where they want to step in and take over that narrative. So Scooby, if we ever get to thousands of viewers, they're probably going to come for us too.
I don't think I'm that good. I mean, that was one of the things I kind of have a little bit of knowledge of from witnessing and growing up where, in Northern Ireland, that, it's obvious that, I mean, governments played both sides of the troubles and things like that there. So, you realize that it all came out later that the government had all these informants from the very bottom to the very top. inside these terrorist organizations. And you're kind of left saying to yourself, well, if you had all these people in there, why did hell the things go down the way they went down? And then that's led to a lot of collusion accusations where they've left themselves open because people are asking, well, you know, if a bombing was going down or something, and did you know about it, and they just let it happen to protect yourselves or protect your source or whatever you want to call it, your tout, and you know that sort of stuff has been going on, but you know that's been going on for centuries as well. Like I mean, it's, you can basically take it for granted that as soon as any type of movement picks up, gains momentum, and looks like it could go somewhere, that it will be infiltrated straight away. You know, you'll even find that on YouTube here. You know, when you start up a small channel, that you know there'll be people come along and they'll get friendly with you, they'll chat to you, and then at some day or another, all of a sudden you'll find out that you know
Yeah.
they're using it against you. So you
Yeah.
know it happens. It's not ridiculous to say or suggest that it happens at this point. It's really not. And you know, when it comes to the truth movement, my feeling is like the same as what it is about the whole coronavirus. And it really doesn't matter about the event anymore. It's the repercussions of the event and how the general public is going to interpret it or how it's going to be sold to the general public. That's what matters. And at this point now, I mean, I'm sitting in my fifth week here now in the house, lockdown, doing what I'm told, you know. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going to change in the future. Trying to not to watch too much scary ass movies
Right.
on YouTube about the whole situation because you know I don't
Yeah.
want
They
to be an alarmist.
and they want to create an air of fear. You're right. We have to be aware of that, and certainly I've been feeling this over the last, I don't know, week or two, that you start watching too much of the bad omen kind of videos. That, I mean, these are things that we need to look at and consider. But if you watch too much of it kind of starts to weigh on your mind, and you know, depression and anxiety can set in. And then you know you worry yourself sick, and you're not going to be productive. So we have to keep a positive attitude about it all, but we have to also look at the information that they're trying to mislead us with, even if it is the fear propaganda. Um, you know, doom and gloom on the rise. It certainly is. I mean, we're in that era now. We're in the the perfect storm, really, where it's all coming together for them. And keeping a level head and trying to stay positive is it's difficult when you have to look at all the information that they're putting out there, and trying to discern what is right and what is wrong, and what is, well, and what is where it's leading to, you know. So it's, we have to look at it, but at the same time, you can only, you know, you have to take a break sometimes, and you go outside and enjoy what you can, get out there and get some exercise, and in yeah, entertain yourself as best as you can, but don't always do it indoors. That's what I would recommend. And we should, like, I mean, I love the idea of the protests, but recently here in my state, and I actually went there. I didn't. I went there at the end of it, but there was a protest in my state capital, and everything was all wrapped up. But there was a lot of patriotism I could see, but it seemed manufactured by some other source, you know, like maybe by the establishment. Even though the sentiments there was a lot of contradictions going there. There's some videos that you could watch and you could see the interviews that the news reporters were doing, and you could see that the people that they were interviewing were wearing masks and sunglasses. A few of them, they were interviewing state representatives. It seemed very contrived, like they were making this out to be a left-right per diem thing. So it's good the sentiments there, and if we all did came together and said we're fucking done with it, we're gonna disobey and just go out and do our business. That's what it would take to stop this machine. But they control the minds of the people, and those people are gullible and they're herd like.
Well,
Just
well, realistically, right? I don't think it can be stopped. I really don't think it can be stopped. I mean, obviously, yeah, people can get angry and they can uprise, but and governments have been overthrown before. But this is a worldwide thing going on at the minute. This is something that's happening in many different countries.
By
Like I
it,
said,
how do you specifically? What do you mean by it?
the protests, I think.
so, sorry,
We're-
Zero. What is?
When you say the word "it," what do you have specifically in mind? Can you please
Well,
elaborate?
This what it looks like is happening at the minute. We're all locked in our houses. We're all, well, maybe not everybody is. Depends what state or country you're in, but quite a lot of people are locked in their houses around the place.
So the operation, basically.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
I just I think they control too much of things. But I don't know if is this the big one? Is this the event we've all been waiting for that everybody has been talking about all these years? I don't know.
I think it's certainly like a step in that direction. I mean, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's not going to happen overnight. I think in the next decade or so, we'll see the final result by the end, by 2030, because the UN agendas are the roadmap. That's their playbook. And if we look at their playbook, we're going to see what the things are coming. So it's not going to happen overnight, but this is a huge step in that final, that evolution. So
Yeah, I talk to a lot of people whenever I'm out and about. So especially when we're standing in queues waiting to get into the damn shop, but everybody I've spoken to does not expect this to end anytime soon, and are expecting the world to be a very different place whenever it's over. Now, it didn't really go into, it didn't elaborate, but I mean, this is basically what everybody seems to be saying that I've spoke to about it, and these are just seemingly everyday ordinary people that I'm talking to. I spoke to a few of the security guards today outside the shopping supermarket that I was at, and they can't see things changing a whole lot between now and Christmas. What? And when I was in the supermarket and was paying the cashier, it was a guy, and I was talking to him the whole time, and I was asking him about, is anybody, do you know any of your staff, friends or whatever working here has went off with COVID or what? And he says, well, there's a few people that's had symptoms, but I don't know if anybody's ended up in hospital. And I'm asking him, do you know if, any indication how long you think this would be? He says, well, these guys are prepping for the long haul, don't see it changing this side of Christmas. Those were his words too,
and we keep seeing all kinds of different dates and times that they're saying that it could be the end of this month. It could be I've seen middle of May. I've seen July. I've heard we're going to see another round of the same pandemic in the coming winter. So Yeah,
Well,
we don't really know if there is an end in sight. So, but they can't keep the economies afloat, even the whole global economy afloat, with everybody, what we would say, I guess 60-70% of the workforce out of business. I mean, they're not working, so how's they gonna? They can only give us free money for so long, right? Before it all comes down crumbling. So the whole idea of not knowing when it's going to end is, I think it's scaring a lot of people. And when we're talking to, and I've seen that it seems like people are a little more chatty about it out in public. Has it, prior to this pandemic, it would have been, everybody kind of minded their own business in the stores, didn't say anything. But when I've been to the stores out in public in the last month, it seems like people are more apt to talk about stuff.
well, here this is like a big thing that I've noticed. Like I'm in my 40s now, and I'm finding that the younger generations don't really want to talk about things, don't really seem to have much knowledge about anything at all worth talking about, it's all the older ones that seem to be a lot more open and talking about things and comparing it to previous events. Now, obviously, there's nothing been to this scale in my lifetime to this, but um, you don't know. You wouldn't know what way. I mean, all you can do is kind of watch along,
Mm-hmm.
and see what happens. Like, I don't believe it's going down this is um, the beast system coming in or whatever they want to call it. Um, but I think it's definitely working towards it. One of the things that we're getting pumped by the news cycle is to expect a second and third wave. They're expecting a second wave around August time. Like we haven't even finished this first wave. What are you talking about? They just keep on planning for more and more and more. They keep on pushing the boundaries, even though it seems to be like a lot of people aren't really buying into it, if you know what I mean. But of course, we get the promotional dancing nurses and doctors, and one day our news cycle will all be about COVID and PPE. The next day it'll be about you know care homes and PPE, and it's just seems to be a cycle, and it seems to be because I'm in front of you guys time wise. Your news cycle seems to follow up on what our news cycle was. So these are just continuing on where we left off, if you know what I mean. That seems to be from talking to Kickstand and whatnot about and then of course looking at some of the news cycles myself. Um, it's interesting times. It's a bit boring because they've taken all the sport away.
Yeah, it's killing me. I'm an avid sports watcher, by the way.
Yeah, I love my football. Like when I say football, I mean soccer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love my football. The boxing as well. We're hoping to get friggin' a couple of fights on there. That AJ and hoping to get the rematch of oh fucking hell, what do you call him? The Bronze Bomber and friggin' the Gypsy King. Not that I understand. I don't understand why they're having a third fight because Gypsy King fucking beat him down, hands down, twice in a row. Like.
Well, and this might be a little bit of good news, but I read on ESPN there were the PGA, the golf association, is going to organize some events without any fans over the course of the summer. So it's good and bad because if they're planning for these events and to do it without fans, it's like this could extend throughout summer. So on one hand, we'll get some sports, but on the other, it seems like they're going to keep this thing rolling. So take that news however you want, I guess.
Well, one of the first kind of actions that were taken over here was boom, school was closed down straight away for the kids. Like, you're like, hold on. Like back then, it was only it was March. It was like there's no 3 months of school to go. They had it closed down. There'll be no exams, not and all that other stuff. So
Right.
they've obviously got some sort of plan.
Yeah, they did the same here.
There's a bit of a long haul with it. Whether or not we'll be locked in the house all that time, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if they're
people
saying
are going to get restless,
no more classes for the rest of the year, and they did that some weeks ago here where I live. So yeah, it does seem like they're going to keep it in place. And the fact that the PGA is saying they'll have some golf events without fans throughout the summer, that right there is kind of indicating that they're going to keep this lockdown stuff in place. And the way it is now is going to be like the new normal for the rest of at least the summer, it sounds like. Oh.
yeah.
And are they proposing in your country to give you money?
Well, they've did that, so they have already for people who were working, and their employer has had to close up because of this, and they can't work from home. They can get something like up to 2,800 claim off the government a month, which is round about nearly $4,000, or up to 80% of your wage, whichever is the higher, or whichever as long as it doesn't go over the 2,800 or 600, is it? So they're giving money away like to some people, but at the same time they come out was it the start of this week? Yeah, they come out and said, "Listen, this we're not going to be able to do this forever. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. And all we can try and do now is prepare for that whenever systems come back online." But the Pope came out today, and he's put his money basically behind a social, what's it called? Freaking,
Crediting, social crediting.
yeah. Well, holy fuck, my head's gone. Basically, a social payment. Everybody gets a social payment every month.
Universal basic income.
Yeah, well, we already have that over here, but it's crap. They're talking about everybody having the
right, and that fits into the narrative of the one world government plan, and ushering in the cashless society along with social crediting. I wonder how it's going to work though, because if half the population isn't working and you're just giving you money, who's making the other goods and who's doing the other services? I mean, if you give everybody money, then they don't have to work anymore. Then who's gonna clean the houses or cut the lawn? I guess you're gonna have all those services kind of dry up. And me as an electrician, I could still go out and do electrical work, but home renovations could come to a crawl at that point because nobody has money to pay me. Then
all the automated,
it gets
robotic systems.
Well, you can only do so much with robotics and automation.
Yeah, do you think they're ready for that yet, Sarah? Though, do you think they're ready to freaking? Because I don't.
I don't know. Like certain logistic jobs, like they have trucks that have no drivers. It's just the truck bed, and they unload, upload the.
Well, I don't think the driverless thing is, that's not ready yet. I mean, especially in inclement weather like snow. I don't think I would trust
No,
the
like
truck.
like internally within the shipyard, they unload of the containers and that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
that kind of stuff probably. But still, you have to have people there to inspect and the crates and for whatever. You still have
Yeah,
to
it's
have
just less and
people.
less
You
people
still have to.
working.
So if they force people to work in, say, like like China or North Korea, more like, then they can take over and say, hey, you're gonna work. You're able bodied. We're gonna make you work. But here's your universal basic income, and you're going to go report to this job based on your job skills and your training or whatever. That you can do X, Y, and Z jobs. So we're going to tell you when to go to work. I don't think we're going to see that right away, but that might be much longer down the road. But I think that's how they pull off the universal basic income and keep.
Well, one of the things that whenever this whole COVID thing started off over here, the government requested people to volunteer to help out the NHS with, I don't know what the hell it was, like doing deliveries and stuff like that there, and they wanted like, I think it was like 250,000 people they were hoping for, and they got like 750,000 people who volunteered for it. So I would say if we're at the point of lockdown where the government is like, well, we're going to let people out, but for certain jobs, you have got no jobs. We need people to go and you know bring the crops in from farms, etc. If anybody's interested in volunteering, you know, put your name down the same way as what they have done for the NHS. And I would say you'll get plenty of volunteers who'll go out there believing they're doing their bit for their country, they're doing the right thing, etc. And I can see that type of system uh, working.
Not sure Ghost's mic is working. Can't hear you.
Oh, I don't
Can you
know.
hear me? I
I
can
I
can
can
see
hear
hear
you
you.
now.
now.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you
Okay.
now.
I must have been pulled my mic out just a tad bit.
That's what she
I don't.
said.
Shit. Oh God. I don't know. I don't think volunteerism is. I don't think that's going to be productive. Who do we have here that joined us?
I don't know who it is. Does anybody know who it is?
Never seen the name.
No.
I'll give them a
Welcome,
couple.
caller. You're live.
Yeah. Maybe you need a few minutes to get ready, or
Sonnies or whatever the hell that is. Don't know.
Gibsonese. Yeah, I don't know. Who's this?
There you go.
Yeah. All right. What's the story, man? Hello? Yib?
Well,
We get a chuckle. That's about it.
give it some time.
Are you shy, or you had some other plan?
Gibsonese, Labus. Host, I spoke to you a time or
Labus.
two.
Pardon?
Oh, wait a minute. 1 second. Oh, I'm Gibsonese.
Yib
There you
Sonny.
Okay. So I just wanted to, come in. Bloody Dingo. I haven't seen you, Bloody Dingo, before. It's a little. Itilite Mias.
And that's in his own language.
So,
Anyhow, welcome,
Zero,
Conan.
how you feeling? How you feeling after that attack?
Good, great. You're here with Scooby Doo from Ireland.
Yeah, that's in my own language.
Welcome to the show. What do you have in mind
So,
about all this stuff? About all these viruses and stuff? What do you have to say about all that?
it's all fake. It's all falling apart. Everybody's just. I'm not saying they're acting crazy. It's just, I don't know. It just kind of feels like a movie, to be honest, a little bit.
Right?
Like a weird movie.
Or like a Dean Koontz novel in 1981, the coronavirus, right?
Yeah. So, well, I don't want to really discuss it much on here, but I'm not trying to. So what happened to Peanut, man?
No, not here. Cut. Not here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Zero.
That's all right.
I guess I get.
Anyhow, let's just
I take it you know him, Zero, yeah? You know this guy?
let's allow the discussion to flow further, and then you can just comment on what you think about it.
I haven't spoken in a while, in about a few weeks. I think about a week or two. Hasn't it been?
Yeah, you can just text me in the Hangouts or whatever, but let the guys run the show.
Yeah, I can't do Google Hangouts because my computer's crappy. It's a little annoying, but it's okay.
All right. Yeah, but let's let the guys do the show. We'll talk later. All right?
So, what's the subject? I heard something about like universal.
All the things that they're bringing in,
Universal basic income.
That's it. Universal basic income.
I think the first wave of the stimulus came in for a lot of people.
Yeah, but do you think that'll be something that'll happen on a regular basis? Do you think that we're all going to end up? There'll be people will have jobs, obviously, but there's going to be a lot of people out of work.
I feel like there might be another round if it's lengthened. I feel like there's going to be another round of stimuluses. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a very weird time.
Very weird time. Very weird indeed.
Yeah. I don't really know how I feel all about it. Like, there's kind of several series I have. Like I kind of feel like something apocalyptic could happen. During this time, it could turn into a civil war. Another thing I feel like could happen is that supposedly everything goes back to normal, and then they hit us with some kind of attack or something. I don't really know, but I feel like that's gonna happen. Like something big's gonna happen soon. Don't know what it's gonna be, but yeah. Kind of have an idea. It might be that the Yellowstone volcano. That could be one of them. But this is my thing.
Yeah, that would be interesting if that popped. It's not going to affect me too much, but it'll certainly affect a lot of people who were there.
No, well, it'll affect the whole world, but you're right. It won't. America is just going to get wiped off the map. They're going to be kind of wiped off.
Here, who's citizen?
You have an underground. Ghost. Okay.
Is Goose left, or did I kick him out by mistake?
No, he's back. There you go.
I might have kicked him out by mistake.
Thanks for having me back.
Oops.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm gonna. Don't be offended here, Ebenezer, but I'm going to kick you out because I'm going to try and get somebody else in here a minute, so I am, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Citizen Reporters.
It's nothing personal. I was wanting to see if we get talking to Citizen Reporter 3.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll see y'all guys later. But thank you for letting
Cool,
me
man.
on.
Thanks
though.
for
Yeah. Cheers, man. I do appreciate. Yeah, I apologize, but it's just how it is. Nothing personal.
He cool. Yeah, citizen reporters, good people.
Citizen reporter, if you're interested, you having a chat. There's a wee link there if you want to join in.
I'll give you a link on Hangouts. Hold on.
I promise I'll
You dropped it. All right.
keep an eye out. Because I'm terrible for that. Although I must admit, that's a good idea, that, because it used to annoy me, people just jumping in your Hangout. You remember you used to live stream the Hangouts? And you drop a link in for somebody, and then you get freaking a whole load of people jump in. Just annoy me.
Right.
But at least with this, you can control, you can say, no worries. You have to add them in yourself. Because I had a few people, I had my stream sniped one night, didn't I? Put porn and all on it, idiots.
Yeah, I had an instance where they started playing like murder videos, or like ISIS and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. There was like four of them went in succession, one after another, and I was like, wow. I was sniping them out.
Hello.
All right. Nice tricks. Yep.
Hey, Erica, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So, what's new? What's going on?
I would just talking nonsense about what's coming next. What's next on the road, the plan for us all? The
Yeah.
powers that be. What's
Mm-hmm.
what's the 1% got in store for us?
It's always a lovely thought, isn't it?
Yeah, you just don't know, really. Like, I mean, you always end up thinking the worst, but
Yeah.
like, I mean,
Oh.
historically, and you go back and look what like the 1% have did all around the world at separate times and wars, and the amount of civilians that have ended up victims. And you only have to look at Syria the last freaking 6 years. Holy crap! Surprised there's a building left standing in that country. So it's crazy times. That Assad guy, I don't understand. Like, I mean, why did they just not go and get rid of him? Why is the UN not stepped in there and said, right, enough's enough? You've got millions and millions of freaking refugees, suffer.
Right.
Why is the UN not do something? That's what they're there to do. But,
Well, I don't know what to say lately. I mean, the more I research, the more I become speechless. And I guess, it is prophesized, things are going to get much tougher. And we all, the people that we are wanting to know the truth, we know this, we knew it going in, and, it's starting, and it's unsettling. That's for sure. But, at least we have found each other, and we could lean on each other for, just to talk, or for guidance, or more moral support, things like that. Because,
yeah.
For me anyway, I can't just unsee what I've seen. I can't just walk away, because that would bother me more. I don't know how you guys feel, but
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I know before all this nonsense, I mean, everybody's had a bit of a run in with somebody and whatnot at one stage or another. But I think it's at the stage now where, it's maybe time to let things rest and, look what's going on around us and freaking try in some small part be a positive rather than a negative, you know. That's my kind of feeling on that there. I don't know, as I was saying earlier on, like this operation that's taking place on a worldwide scale, I don't know if it can be stopped. I don't know if I want it to be stopped because of prophecies and things like that there, and kind of what I believe and what I would expect uh, to happen at the end of it all. So, but without doubt, like I mean, strange times at the minute, and it feels like it's a very gradual reveal going on. If anything, you know, they're definitely tiptoeing around the things at the minute. They're not trying to overwhelm us with what's next. They're just kind of focused on this pandemic at the minute and how we need to. You know, they're telling us that by staying in lockdown minimizes the resources for the NHS, the hospital system over here, and there's less risk of it becoming overwhelmed, because if it becomes overwhelmed, there's nothing. You know, there's no way back from that. So that's their excuse for locking us all down. That we're playing our part to try and keep things controlled so the NHS can cope. But we've literally went through like the last 10 years, maybe 12 years, of what they call austerity measures, where they've cut back in, you know, hospitals, they've cut back in policing, they've cut back in public services. You know, they've cut back on basically everything that they can cut back on. And now we're in this position, but all of a sudden the government's got the money to be able to pay out thousands of pounds to workers who aren't at work at the minute.
Well, I just found out that, and I have to double check on this, but what I heard was that this is like the other stimulus, where it's basically just an advance on next year's tax return. Meanwhile, self-interest groups like the ADL and others have gotten a few billion with a B, few $1 billion of our tax money relief.
Wow,
That shit needs to stop. Okay, that is so outrageous. It's just so outrageous. Okay, and they're passing another bill where over the next 10 years, a minimum of $38 billion of aid will go to Israel. I mean, this is fucking crazy. Just absolutely insane. And it pisses me off beyond belief. I'm sorry, but just, you know, we've got people who are on the verge of losing their homes, you know, children starving, you know, our infrastructure, on and on and on. And we're just, you know, there are our so-called representatives are handing over more cash, more cash, more cash. This is bullshit. And these criminals need to be brought up on charges of treason and done away with as such. You know, it's just, oh.
like
I really don't even know what to say. Sometimes I just get so shocked and so outraged that I become speechless, you know?
yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I kind of, you know, I can certainly sympathise with that one. I don't understand. I mean, the UK is the same. They hand out money to Israel as well. I don't understand why that is. I mean, when is Israel going to come to the point where they're self-sufficient? You know, why do they need this money? Why are we giving it to them? I mean, one of the things that used to make me laugh years ago, you know, 20 years ago, when was working in the shipyards and stuff like that, there, the shipbuilding industry. Um, South Korea was able to build a ship for the price that it would take for our company just to buy the steelwork. So if it was costing us, say, 30 million to buy the steelwork to build the ship, they were building the ship practically with that. But the reason why they were able to do it was because our government was sitting subsidizing them. So we were subsidizing them to undercut us and put us all out of work, put our companies out of work, close down the shipbuilding industry practically. And
It's
it's a joke.
It is a joke. It's a complete freaking joke. And the long-term goal is so that they could do their monopoly companies, basically your oligarchs who obey the international Jewish bankers. Okay, that's what it's all about. And then they'll come in, they'll bankrupt everybody else. Then they come in and buy up everything for pennies on the dollar. They've been doing this for centuries.
Yeah.
And enough is enough with these people. Seriously.
Well, we all know that the only people that are going to benefit once this all, once we're all allowed out of houses again and people are allowed to go back to their businesses, for those that still have a business, which, very many people won't, there's very many businesses can survive 6 months with no money. And even if they did, it would probably take them about 3 years to claw those 6 months back. And they'd probably not make much of a profit during those 3 years either, So that has a real long-term effect. But for all the businesses that do fall out and crash and are gone, the 1%ers, they just step in, and
Right.
they take over.
Yep.
It's like a way to get. It's always been about old money. Well, then the internet come along, and there was a lot of new money about, and a lot of new money. Millionaires, multi-millionaires, and all the rest of like, and it, you know, it felt like the tactic then became to get rid of them. To buy them all out, then find a way to take their money off them, and because if you look through the years at all these like movie stars and superstars and all, some of them seem absolutely crazy. I mean, is it friggin' they buy all these houses and all, and you're like, why would you do all that? And then by the time it's over, there's no money left. You know, or you'll have actors that you wouldn't have seen in a movie or anything for years. Wouldn't have seen them in anything, and then 15 years they'll come out of obscurity, and all of a sudden they're in a movie getting 6, 7 million. You're like, well, what's that for? What have they done? And I feel like there's a lot of people that's always been set up to fall apart, to ruin. They always find a way to get their money. Should it be from tax evasion, their accountant's been dodgy, or or some other ridiculous thing that their wife cleans them out. The legal system is set up for the woman to benefit more than half, practically. Do these people really need 30,000 a month to live off? Can they not just do what everybody else does? But I'm rambling a bit there. But I just know, as we all do, by the time this is done, it's going to be the 1%ers that benefit of it bigly, and we are all going to be left at the bottom. And whether there was a recession years ago, that depression in the 30s, late 20s or 30s. There's a lot more people in the world today, and there's a lot more resources being used. So if there's any type of depression now, it would be worse than what's ever come before us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly this is one of those times that we've been watching, waiting to see when it was going to happen, and now that we're in it, now we're at the forefront of all this. You know, the stuff that we knew about long ago, and we knew what was coming, and now we're at the forefront of that information and that knowledge. You know, and we have to keep plugging on no matter what, for as long as we can, at least.
Yeah, well, I have friends there and whatnot, and whether they're not completely stupid, but they're still not exactly buying into the whole, what we've been watching happen for the last lot of years. Still think I'm a wee bit of a conspiracy nut, so to speak. But as this goes on, more and more eyes are going to get open. But I also believe that desperation will sink in for a lot of people, that they'll be willing to accept quite a lot. That's
Can
how revolution happens, isn't it? Or change
can you
is
guys
happening.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure my mic was working. I got a new headset, so sorry for the interruption.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, it's the same with what was Ghost, with all of you guys were just saying, but to expound on what Ghost was saying, there is the USMCA is giving the trade deal doesn't go through Congress anymore. Whatever changes that they have in the future, they have their own court systems and their own grievance systems, and they are answerable to the UN now. Okay, it doesn't go through Congress anymore. So this is a real issue. Nobody knows about this, and it's extremely dangerous. And not only that, but this new trade deal, this governing body within this trade deal has jurisdiction over a certain part of our land along all the coast and border of our country, in the air, below the soil, inland, and out to sea. And we have no say to it. They will be able to dictate to us, to the farming community. They'll be dictating to the industry, as far as like greenhouse gases and things like that. So, and on and on and on. Those are just a few highlights within this terrible, terrible trade agreement. Basically, what they did is they copied and pasted from the Paris Accord and put it into the USMCA that he re-signed in December. Then, at the end of December, they had a UN job posting in New York City for a re-education, disarmament, and demobilization task force. And they mentioned paramilitary in there, and paramilitary is basically a militia. So we've got that going on, and then they're looking to combine the Canada, United States, and Mexico's economy to compete with the Belt and Road. Now, as far as our natural resources, we have no control over that anymore. But Mexico still has sovereign control over their natural resources. Not only that, but then if a company moves to the United States, if they're a foreign country, they could bring in their own employees and they don't need green cards or anything else. So basically, a bunch of companies can move here to the United States and not hire one single United States citizen. And it's perfectly legal.
Well, that's something that the Chinese have done in Italy. They went and the north of Italy, they went and bought a lot of the leather companies. So they did. And basically, so they could say it was made in Italy. So it's Italian leather. But they ship in their employees from China. In fact, they reckon that's how the north of Italy got hit so bad because they had a lot of Wuhan employees from Wuhan traveling backwards and forwards.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they were going backward and forward, and then the next thing, boom. But is
And
that
now-
is that signed in place now? Is that? I mean,
Yes, it
that-
is. Yes, it is. Yep,
And
it's done.
Trump signed off on that.
Huh? Yes, he did. Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Fuck. And,
I'm
and-
pissed. I'm pissed. And not only that, but now they're talking about how, oh, China created this virus in their lab. Well, first of all, they never admit to any viruses being created in any labs. You know how they always deny that.
Mhm.
So then they're talking about how they're going to punish China for this, right? And they're going, well, we're going to bring all our companies back over here. Okay, so now what the next step, what I'm predicting is, yeah, they're going to bring all the companies back when they drive the wages down, because that's part of what mass immigration does. You have too many people, too few jobs, your wages go down. So we already have that situation as it is, and now we've got this so-called virus thing. Now, I'm not saying there is not a virus, but they're definitely using this virus as a tool to destroy our economy, right? And that will drive wages down. And then the companies will come back, and then we'll all be stuck working in for sweatshop wages, basically, is what I think is going to happen.
And that's where the universal basic income will come into play, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like
It's
I said
kind-
earlier, I think that
Mhm.
would play into in order for them to pull off universal basic income, they still have to have people working. So they would, I think, force people to work, at least the able-bodied, and make them
Mhm.
work for low wages, or maybe they get some other kind of benefits, or yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I unplugged myself. They would have to incentivize to some degree, because you don't want shit work. You want people to put out whatever work is
Hell-
necessary and be incentivized to do so.
Yeah, but they'll say, screw you, Americans, if you don't want to work for shit wages and in shit conditions. We've got millions of people in other countries that we could just import in without having to go through any green card process or anything, and they'll work and they'll take your jobs.
But
I
if
mean,
you
it's
have-
just,
if
I'm
you have-
so pissed.
If you have universal basic income, then you don't have to worry about not having a job. You got money.
Yeah, I know, but that's barely to survive. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like you're going to be able to live comfortably. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You're not going to be able to afford your house payments and
Sure,
and a
right.
nice house at all. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. That would incentivize you to work, but
But that's how they're going to fuck everybody. They're going to say, well, if you don't want it, then we'll get somebody else to do it.
yeah,
And basically people there won't be any competition, because the monopolies, basically they're buying up farms right now. And they have a monopoly over farm equipment, and not only just the farm equipment, but the manufacturers that fix farm equipment. I mean, when I was reading all this stuff over the past few months, I was just disgusted. Literally, I would have a stomach ache at the end of the show, because I couldn't believe what was being set up to screw everybody. And
they've had a stranglehold over the farmers for decades now. I mean, probably
Mhm.
40 years or so, because they've been slowly lowering
Yeah.
the prices of their
Right.
their goods, and then raising the price of tractors and equipment and
Mhm.
repairs, and by the way, the
Right.
taxes, and okay, you get tax write-offs here and there, but it's never enough. And most
Mhm.
farmers are, even though they make a lot of money, but they have a lot of expenses, but it all
Right.
equals out. Basically, they're living paycheck to paycheck too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they are ending up having to subsidize their farms to these big companies, and then they've got to do, like, for example, if you got a chicken farm, they have to set up the chicken farm the way like Purdue would want it, and you've got chickens on top of each other rather than being free range. And then they are driving these people out of business, basically. And that's what they're going in for the kill with the farmers. Exactly what you're saying. It's been a slow process, and now they're going in for the kill.
Mm-hmm. And with the automation in the farm equipment or the farming, they can probably pull that off, especially with the mega farms. And we've heard for a long time that the Chinese have been buying up all kinds of farmland in America. So
and you know what happens, because we're trillions of dollars in debt. Okay, let's be real. There's no way that's ever going to be paid. So what are they going to want when you default on your payment? They're going to want your property.
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah, and then that's when we'll officially become communist.
Totalitarian.
Yep.
Wait,
That's
what is Islam
right
based?
around the corner. That's right around the corner. It will be within our lifetime, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the United States
And
has
that's
been
part of
communist
Agenda.
since, you know.
That's Agenda 21, Agenda 30. Also, it's like multi-pronged. There's like it's not just one thing. It's like this huge, big, enormous, ugly beast with all these tentacles reaching out, infecting every part of society in the world that you could think of. And they all work in tandem, and they're connected to each other, you know?
Yeah. Like a big octopus.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I wish I had something better to say, but I can't. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping that this virus thing is waking the normies up, because they're like, all right, well, I understand that we don't want people to die, but then you can't take the entire fucking country down with you, okay? And they're starting to question the numbers, which is a good thing. So I'm hoping that maybe in the masses, when they start seeing all this stuff coming, they're going to be like, oh, hell no. I don't know. We don't know. That's why we can't stop trying. Because if we stop trying, then we're guaranteed to be screwed, right?
Yeah.
We know what the outcome will be then. But you never know. If you keep trying, you keep talking, you keep trying to educate and spread the word, you never know what could happen.
And that's what it's going to take is everybody, enough of the population to know at least a modicum of what we know, and understand the corruption and see the tyranny themselves before we can actually pull together and maybe have a I don't want to, we
have a chance.
Yeah, we'll say it that way.
It's true though.
It is. I mean, I've said it for years that's what it would take, and I came to the conclusion that if all I can do is spread information and have a voice and try to tell people what it is I think is going to happen in this world, people that I've reached out to years and years ago, some friends of mine that alienated me because I'm saying 9/11's an inside job and all that. They were like, "Oh, you get out of here, crazy guy." And now all the stuff that I was saying, a decade ago, those people we'll be seeing what we were saying earlier, that we're going to see this in our lifetime. So they're going to see it too. They're going to know I was right, and then that'll, I planted the seeds though.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It'll make sense. Exactly. Yep.
And there are more and more people waking up, because if you even go back 5 years, like the type of stuff we would post on social media, people be like, down votes and no. Well, that doesn't really happen that much anymore. There's a lot of people like, yeah, I see your point. I mean, you're still going to have some holdouts. Don't get me wrong, or paid trolls, because I think a couple of years ago, the government hired over 40,000 people to troll the internet to influence public opinion. So when you've got somebody who is absolutely stubborn and, pushing the official narrative, then they're more than likely a paid troll.
Right. Yeah, I've seen those people for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just one government's troll army.
Right.
All the governments are at it, like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially Israel.
Oh yeah. And you know what? People, oh, they're smart. They're smart. Well, if they're so smart, then why do they keep crashing economies? Number one. And if they're so smart, number two, why can't they support their own economy? Why do they have to keep? Why do they have to be a welfare state and steal from everybody? If they're so smart and good at with ingenuity.
Yeah, I mean, you can only point it out so much, but and they you could. It's one of those things that people will see on their own. You can only tell them, you know, like I said, you could plant the seeds, but it's up to them to make the decision to, you know, look into the information. And
Right.
so, yeah, there's room for optimism here. And Scoopy and I were talking about it earlier. Is when it seems in the last month or so that we go to the stores or out in public, it seems like people are a little more chatty about the things, or they're more receptive to hearing about our ideas. And you know, when you tell them this is all planned, a lot of people are like, "Yeah, we can kind of see that." So
funny you say that. Yeah, funny you say that, because literally a couple weeks ago, I was talking to a cashier at a gas station. She brought it up, and she's like, 2 weeks ago, I would not have thought this, but now there's something weird going on, and this isn't right. And then we started talking, and I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right, and blah 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 blah. You know, so yeah, people are saying, and you know what? I've always told my kids, if you are in a situation that you can't get out of and you have to fight, but you know you're going to lose, it doesn't matter. You go down fighting.
Yep.
You know,
just like that meme or a cartoon picture with the frogs being swallowed by the stork, and the frog's got his hands around the stork's neck. That's what it should look like. That's
right. Never give up. Yep. Never surrender. So, you know, I have to live my life by what I've taught my kids, and go down fighting. You never know. You'd be surprised a lot of times.
And it's just the fact that they've made this so global, it's going to affect a lot of people, and sure, they control the narratives, but because we are talking and people are opening up and being more receptive to the idea that there's something fishy about this whole thing.
Right.
It's positive to think about that in that light, that there's a modicum of hope there. I mean, there's a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I think so. I do think at first I thought Trump being elected was a good thing, but then I was listening to Gary Galena, and he's got a good point. He's like, I want the worst person to be elected next time. Trump was a big mistake because it put everybody back to sleep. And I'm like, he's right. And he's like, and if we get somebody who's just god awful terrible, maybe then just maybe the American people will wake up and frickin' do something. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
I thought they would have done that after George Bush Sr. or George Bush Jr. or Obama and Clinton.
Well, it was about to happen with Obama and Clinton and all that shit, and then Trump got elected. And I'm like, ugh, quiet.
Trump was always supposed to be the last good hope, right? And that was squashed right away when he didn't put Hillary in prison or have her indicted. All that fucking got washed away, and then he drained the swamp and refilled it with his own cronies. And right there, that should have been another slap in the face for people to wake up, but just rolling.
Some people, people are still hanging on to Trump or trying to give him a chance. I'm like, there is no more chance. There are no chances here. Look what he's done, this, that, and the other thing. He's sold us out.
Yeah. And
fuck him.
George Carlin said it a long time ago. It's a big club and you ain't in it.
You aren't in it.
Well, it looks like this time round you've got a choice between Trump and friggin' Biden.
Yeah.
What do you do with that one? Like, that's like, one of them's going to jump into China, you know what I mean, and be best buddies and do whatever they want. And
they both are.
Yeah.
They both will.
Yeah. Look at the pattern since Clinton took office. It's always been 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Biden is obviously the guy that's going to lose this time around, because let's not forget his creepy Uncle Joe touchy-feely touching the kids thing, that's going to come back up, I'm sure. But and now that the media is saying, oh, he's all goofy and on drugs or something, he's senile or something like that. So
Who, Biden?
yeah, they're trying to create the narrative that he's not the right candidate, obviously.
It's such a joke. It's such a joke. It's so disgusting. Literally, I get pissed off. I take care of my dad, and he likes to watch the traditional news, and I'll walk by and I'm like, those SOBs, and I can't stand to listen to it. It aggravates me.
Has Biden's running mate been announced yet?
They're saying it's the governor of my state, which is Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. That's one of the potential candidates. So that's what it sounds like.
Why does everybody hate her? I don't even know her.
Well, she's Democratic for one, and she's done a lot of things as far as our state goes, and outing. Again, it's more union busting. It's she's made more laws stricter. I mean, it doesn't matter who the governor is, just like it doesn't matter who the president is. There's just more and more things that they keep doing, and then the right will say, point out all the bad things about her, and right, there's never anything good about any of these people.
Yeah.
So it's just easy for everybody to hate her.
Okay.
They're just using her as a scapegoat, but it's
right.
Nobody sees that even governors of states are puppets on strings too.
Oh yeah, they all are. And I was doing a show with Travis once, and this is recent. I can't remember which video it was, but the guy from Estee Lauder Company.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Lauder, and he publicly said, "We are going after all of your politicians, all the way down to the local communities, and we're going to ensure that this is regarding the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, and we're going after your local communities all the way up to the president." And I'm like, who the hell does this guy think he is? Now, if you've read that definition, your blood should run cold if you're human, because it's literally, you cannot criticize Israel or Jewish people or anything. You can't say nothing.
Well,
they want to send people in jail, like how Australia and Germany does.
That's what prevented, or should I say, that's what got Boris the Prime Minister job, because Labour, your guy Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, the guy would have been on stage with freaking Osama bin Laden himself if he could have. He's such a sympathizer to all those terrorist organizations, and he was in Palestine and celebrating with them, and he was with some of their leaders and some of the paramilitary, the Hezbollah or whatever they're called, and he having all these aid concerts and all, and he'd go there and talk and then the next thing came out about the Labour Party being anti-Semitic, and that was a big, towards the end of the election, that was a big pull. It was constantly making headlines. They were constantly being asked, what are you going to do to prevent this, or to change this, and all this crap. And he didn't get into, he didn't get anywhere close to being Prime Minister. Whereas everybody thought he had a pretty good chance, but no chance. And, ultimately I put it down to that, man, if they don't want you in, you're not getting in. They'll find a way to make sure you don't get in. End of story. Not that I supported the guy either, because it didn't, but it just looked obvious to me that we're not deciding who goes in at all. Because it was the same with Boris' election was the exact same with what Trump. You know, everybody predicted it to be very tight, and then all of a sudden, Corbyn was in front, and then the next thing when they come out of the, you know, the polls, the after
Mhm.
it was a landslide, Conservative. I mean, they practically they'd won it in the first hour, like, you know, and that's unheard of.
Right.
You know,
Listen, I hate to run, but duty calls. I gotta go take care of some things. Yeah, hopefully you guys will be on later, or if you want to stream later tonight, let me know. But thanks for having me on,
yeah, no
and I'm
problem.
glad.
Good speaking to you.
Yeah, I'm glad I got a little bit of time to kind of jump in and talk with you, with everybody. So, I'll try to hang out and chat a little bit, and if you're still on, I'll join later.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'll probably be wrapping up.
Okay. Well,
At some point here, is getting
we'll
on. You
see
know.
each other around.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
see each
yeah.
other around.
I've
And
been
it's
watching your videos, like they're interesting.
Well, good. I'm glad you like them, and
You know.
thanks for having me on. I had a lot of fun, you guys.
Cheers.
okay, Eric. I
Thank you.
see ya.
All right, see you later.
Well, there you go. And there was two.
Not bad. Not bad so far for your first stream, man. You've done pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get things back up again.
Yeah.
So there's is it LARP Busters?
What about him?
He's concerned because I'm not using Scooby anymore.
I wouldn't read too much into that. He's known for trolling.
Oh, I know LARP Busters, but at one stage he used to troll in my favor.
Oh.
he used to troll the people who were attacking me, and now he's the other way around. Maybe that's just because it fitted his narrative at the time.
I think people do that a lot. People come and go as far as who you're cool with, and people fall out, and then next thing you know, they're trolling you. So, or they're your friend. That happens a lot. But yeah, he can be funny. He can be funny at times. But
He is. He's a funny guy.
Sometimes he's a little over the line. But yeah,
He's likable.
I'm sorry.
He's a likable character.
It depends on if he's on your side or not. He can't be neutral at times.
I think he's funny, whether he's not my side or not. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep him on your good side then. Oh, Zero's back.
Scooby's dead, LARP Buster. Scooby died. Euthanasia. Put to sleep. So
who is LARP Busters?
It's fucking Canada, isn't it?
Everybody
Because
keeps
the original
saying that.
LARP Busters was J-Man.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what Lee told me.
I don't know. I have no idea. I just read. I just say what people write.
Yeah, he gets really triggered when you call him
China.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's never. I'll be honest with you. I've talked to friggin'. There's Kickstand. I've talked to Kickstand for about 2 years now. I still don't friggin'. I still refer to her as Kick. You know, when I'm talking to her in Hangouts, and you know, I don't ask people their names. I don't ask them their personal details and things like that. There, and it's not that you're not interested. I guess if you become friendly with something over time and whatnot, you know what I mean. Fair enough, different, but yeah. Same with Land Rover there. You know, I know Land Rover a while now, and I would still call him Land Rover. It is what it is. But there's without doubt, man, we've interesting times in front of us. I still think a large portion of the population is sleeping on it, though. They're asking questions and fed up about being at home and want to go back to work. You know,
Mhm.
I
Right.
think the main concern for everybody is getting back to work and getting money, getting their bills paid. They're not really looking at the bigger picture of what's coming down the road or what potentially is coming down the road. That's what I think is kind of happening out there. You know,
Yes.
and I think the last 30 odd years there, you know, everything, people have become more selfish. You know what I mean? I think in general, people are far more selfish and about themselves than what they ever have been. You know, narcissism. You know, I can't remember the last time I took a picture of myself, but I see people taking pictures of
Oh,
themselves
shit.
fucking 10, 20 times, 100 times a day. For crying out loud. I mean, people actually do need to have iPhones with like 200 and something gigabyte memory because of the photographs.
What?
It's crazy. There's
Crazy.
people take fucking, you know, that's what they're all about. Pouting their lips and looking up at their phone. It's like, what the hell, man? That seems to be what they're all interested in. The young lads nowadays, they're going and they're getting manicures done. You know, they're getting their eyebrows done. They're getting,
Uh,
you know, it's so girly, man. It's like,
Yeah, that's
I've
left
been watching
propaganda.
remember that YouTube character? Like, hi sisters. You know what I'm talking about?
Who?
no,
There's this fucking guy who's like he's not really gay, but he does like all these manicure videos and makeup videos, and there's like millions of viewers being pushed by YouTube.
oh, okay. No, I haven't been watching anything like that. I just, you know what? And the godson, he's like 19, man. It's like, holy moly, you know. Listen to him sometimes talking. He was doing a degree in politics. Just total and utter brainwashing. Like, you know. But
Well, and a lot of that has to do with social media too, with the Facebook and selfie culture, and look at what I'm doing, and look at me, and you know, all that stuff plays into their hands as well. So if they get everybody thinking about themselves, then we're not thinking about each other as a collective and in unity. It's a divide and conquer.
Hyper individualism.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can remember years ago, Tony Blair, whenever he was prime minister, talking about, you know, wanting the internet, every child to have access to the internet in their homes by, you know, 2012 or something like that. There back in the day, you know, and it's obvious why, because you look what, you know, kids are nearly coming out of the womb with a freaking iPad in their hands now. You know, they grow up on it. They get handed an iPad. They look at YouTube. They're getting freaking the biggest sort of crap pumped in their heads, and then they're left vulnerable as well because of all the fucking creepy fuckers on social media. Like,
mm-hmm.
you know, it's a fucking nightmare, and most parents are oblivious to it.
Yeah, and I think the awareness that the whole Pizzagate thing came about probably raised that awareness up even a little bit more. And yeah, and it's made people fearful of just your average Joe walking down the street. You know, everybody hide your kids. There's a single man walking around. You know, there's been videos where people have called cops on you know, a parent sitting, you know, a single parent sitting in the park with their daughter or something. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
You know, mind your own goddamn business. and then that comes also from the 9/11 days when, you know, see something, say something. Turn on your neighbors, report them, tell on everybody.
yeah. Well, I can remember them introducing something like that over here in the 80s. They introduced the what they call the confidential telephone, and it was basically a telephone number where you could phone up and squeal on your, you know, your
Oh,
community,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And you know,
It's a shame.
you didn't even have to freaking go to court or anything for a witness, you know, like that. There, you just had to inform, and that's what it's all about. So you're seeing it now, where you know there was, I don't know what state that governor is governor of. That guy, he was talking about snitches. You know, usually get stitches, but nowadays they get, you know, they get praised. He was wanting people to phone up and tell the police about people breaking the lockdown rules or law or whatever you want to call it. You know, and the police over here, and what they're saying, that they're overwhelmed with phone calls from people calling up because they've seen their neighbour go out twice in one day for a walk. You know, it's like,
Yeah. I seen a video clip of somebody recently in the last couple of weeks with the lockdown. This lady, they call them Karens now, right? Where Karen is a derogatory term towards a woman who has no better business to do than to police everybody else. And this lady, these two guys were sitting in a car, and he was recording, and this lady came up and, you know, tapped on his window and was barking at him. I'm going to call the police because you're not, you know, obeying the lockdown orders and shit. So yeah, it's a shame that we have those people that are all about policing each other. You know, people have been conditioned, and I think that's the propaganda machine at work.
yeah, well, that's, you know, every so often the media will talk about, you know, something, the World War II, if there's some sort of anniversary coming up of it, the Normandy landings or something like that there, and then they'll show documentaries about Germany and how the Germans were all brainwashed, and why did nobody freaking stand up to Hitler and all that, and how come how could everybody just bought into it? See, when you see what's going on now, it's pretty easy to understand how everybody bought into what happened in the 1930s, 40s Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, because you know the next thing, that's what they'll be doing. You'll be fucking, if you're breaking the laws or the rules or whatever, you're getting fined. You'll be singled out. You know.
Right. Yeah. History repeats itself often.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a roadmap or a plan. You know, it's a playbook that they've been using for centuries.
Yeah. Well, I
kinds-
mean, I mean, when you look at how Germany was and what Hitler took them back up to, you can understand full well. I mean, you could see that. I mean, obviously, the whole Holocaust and whatnot. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about him getting into power and how he changed things around, and why the people freaking worship him, so to speak, was
Oh yeah.
because, you know, they went from having nothing, living on literally breadcrumbs, to getting their self-respect back, having a job, feeling like they're part of something big. You know, it's we're all in this together type thing. I mean, I'm sure the propaganda was immense back then, but you know, shit like that there, man, it's easily happening again now. So it is easily happening again.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, I've had a good chat with you, and appreciate you having me on. I'm going to
Yeah,
jump out,
no worries, folks. No
and
worry, Ghost.
I'm asking to see if Renee wants to jump in or not before you, if you're talking about winding down the stream or not. But yeah, let her get in here and have a chat with you if she's into it. But yeah, appreciate you having me on, and I'm happy to
No
have been on
worries,
your
Ghost.
first stream. So it's awesome.
Okay, dope, mate. Have a good one.
Yep, you too.
We'll get talking again.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Gus.
All right, see you.
Awesome, as always.
Thank you.
Take care, man. All right. Let's see what's going on. So we have Malibu. Oh, she made it. So I want to go continue, or you think you're about done? What's your?
Probably wind up here in a minute, I think, maybe.
Let's see, maybe who wants to join? Let's see.
What's the gossip been? What's the leader? I've been away quite a long time, so I don't know. I haven't been keeping tabs on YouTube at all, and the who's who and the what's what, and just the usual same nonsense going on as usual, is it? People falling out and
Yeah, it's just silly
befriending
stuff.
enemies and all that crap. Everybody's a
Yeah.
shill
Well,
or a fucking, that other crap that was going about name the freaking Jew and all that shit. It's like, ugh.
you get for a brief time, we had like a repeat of 2018, the whole pedo LARP, the whole you're a pedo, that kind of bullshit. Or in my case, it was you're a pedo protector. I'm like, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they like to try and label people with that, don't they?
Say again?
They like to try and label people with that. I mean, that's how I ended up doing the whole YouTube. Freaking, I put a video out. It was OG had put a video out the day before, and then I put one out after him.
Oh shit.
Showing that I'd researched what he had said, and the rest was history after that. Like, but then I was accused of being a friggin' pedo protector and all this crap, and protecting this group, and I'm in a gang and I'm responsible for freaking crazy crap. Like, but it's all fun.
Yeah, it's just this.
You get used to it after a while. Like, you get. I think at first, whenever it kind of first happened to me, I was a bit taken aback. It was, but then you just treat things as, do you know what? It's YouTube. What's it matter?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a social experiment with a new type of social discourse, like some sort of collective expanded version. It's never been done before. Talking to a group of people, and then another group is listening to you in chat and feeding back into the. So you can read, interact, and in fact, if you have really intelligent people who are focused, you could literally instantly create a think tank and look at any subject and decipher it and go through it, and you could multiply the intelligence factor by exponential leaps sometimes if you have the right people. So it's a new type of social discourse that wasn't available before, because like how many people can you talk to, your neighbors or immediately right there where you're sitting or whatnot, about anything nearly close to this.
Yeah, no, I'd be honest with you, I think it's fantastic. It's almost addictive in a way too. Like, I mean, because you can reach out and speak to basically anybody in the world at any moment if you wish to, and you can talk about what's they're experiencing or what you're experiencing or what yada yada yada, as they say. But you know what I mean. So it's pretty phenomenal that way. But I remember back in the the 90s with Yahoo Chat and all, used to have a chat rooms and things like that there. I mean, that was good crack back then too. So it was, and then freaking the bots came out. Bots came into play, porn bots and all the rest of it, and then the chat just went. Yahoo Chat just went to shit. So that was the end of it. They wrapped it up. But I had good crack back then. I met a whole lot of freaking cool people off that. So that I've never kept in touch with any of them. Like, but I mean, who knows? You do get to learn a bit about other people's cultures. I can remember I got talking to a girl, and she was living in Israel. She
Mhm.
was a university student. Now at the time, I was freaking her talking 30 years ago, for crying out loud. That sounds crazy saying
Wow.
that out loud. Wow.
Wait, 30. Wait a minute. That's
Maybe it's not 30 years
90s,
ago.
early
No,
90s.
20 years ago. 20 something years
Oh
ago.
yeah. So like Telnet or.
Yeah. So she was a university student, and she was
Right.
training to be a social worker. Like, and it was at the time whenever there was a lot of freaking suicide bombings going on. And I must admit, that she's one of the people that stuck in my head because years later, that I'm on YouTube and I'm watching videos and I'm watching uh, auto hoaxing, false flags, whatever you want to call it. You're watching these things happen. You're like, God, I wonder how much of that was a false flag back then. I wonder how long they've been doing this, and it's only now that we're catching on because of social, because of YouTube and because people can get together and they can compare things. There's so
Right.
much video that we're able to access. Cameras are everywhere, etc., etc. You do wonder like how long have they been doing it? And I would say they've been doing it for centuries.
Yeah, for thousands of years.
Literally centuries. Aye, they've been freaking false flagging back in the good old days of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. No, probably.
It's like all that art of war stuff,
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's all on the go back in, like so. As they say, there's nothing new under the sun. So it's not.
Correct. People are
There's
people.
nothing new under the sun.
It's just yeah. Um,
We won't think something unique that hasn't been thought before.
yes, it's like people have always been people since the dawn of time, and but yeah, as of late, since you were gone or something, there was a certain. I've kind of learned how to judge people because in the beginning I was trying to be neutral with everyone, and that just was not realistic. Everybody ended up turning against me.
Yeah,
And
that's it. And you're kind of forced into picking a side or something, like, and that's why it's just like, do you know what? I just do a freaking. I used to do my live streams and just fucking ramble on about what I'd seen going on that week on YouTube, like, and if people wanted to pick on me, they could pick on me and whatever. You are kind of forced into sides, like, but I've learned my lesson, and I know a few people around me have learned their lessons too. That be careful who you get involved with because
right,
you just don't know. You just have no idea. People present themselves as fucking,
kind of
nice
stay
people.
try to stay away from like maybe groups, but more try to engage people in an individual level, and then maybe have like like uh, like you know small clusters of individuals, like certain like little teams on different things spread around instead of having one large group and dealing with all the politics, internal politics, and then all the people that would take the group down basically, or that's
Yeah.
then
Well,
then it's
I,
fracture and all that other stuff. So just have strong individuals, clusters like 3 or 4, and
yeah. Well, I'd done a Discord and all, and like fucking, I don't know, 50 or 60 people in there. Everything was going
Oh, cool.
well until you know, I went against the grain. As soon as I went against the grain, within like, a week, my Discord went to shit. Fucking everything else started going to shit as well after, like, and so
Yeah, you
now
gotta.
I just
There's very
decided
few.
I just keep myself to myself. I am
Yeah. Right.
get involved with a few people and I limit my involvement to. I'm going to start doing more videos. So I am, hopefully about not about fucking stupid yet. YouTube stuff with what's going on and whatnot. And I want to do a bit in the Freemasons because there was when I was looking for something else, I came across like an exhibition where they had all their like a history of them. That all these like freaking kind of all these like old papers and proclamations and things like that there, and they're signing them, and they're all the regalia and stuff like that there, and it told you a bit of the history, like, and it's kind of interesting, like, and I just haven't got round to freaking getting into any sort of depth down there because I was always under the impression that it's going to sound pretty naive now, but I was always under the impression that the Freemasons was like basically a Christian type movement, a brotherhood, and it wasn't until I read the like introduction proclamation, whatever it's called, um, where you basically all you have to do is believe in a god, any god. It doesn't matter
Believe
what
in
god.
something.
Yeah, believe in something, and whenever you're
No
swear,
atheists. No atheists allowed. They're ghosts.
yeah,
Just kidding.
even if you bring whatever it is that you believe and you swear your oath on it. I didn't realize that. I was like, wow, because back in the early days of America, like there was something like 200,000, Freemason Presbyterians from what was known as Ulster then, which is Northern Ireland now. That went to America back in the like 1600s, early 1600s, and settled quite a large part of America. Davy Crockett and all, that's where they came from. He came from here. His family came from here. A lot of your presidents have came from here. It's quite crazy how much of an influence this country has had on America. When you start looking into things, it's quite crazy
Scottish
indeed.
Rite and all that, right?
For such a small population, I mean, there's like 1.5 million people in my country.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Pueblo
There's like
Bonito was small.
there's like 6 million in Southern Ireland. It mightn't even be that. So there's not a lot, but then when you think of how much of effect we've had on other countries and cultures around the world, it's mind blowing. For the size. So yeah,
Hey,
I'm a
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm nearly about played out, so I am freaking it's 10 to 12 here now. Getting
So
getting
just
tired.
I found the original documents actually. It was in on a little notepad, all folded up, and had a what, paperclip, So I've actually found the original document. Let me show you.
Documents for what?
The letter from Knights Templars, from one to another. So let me.
Oh, very cool.
All right, here we go. So we have. There's a draft too. So There we are.
So tell me this now. I'm not too sure. Like, were the Freemasons basically a continuation of the Templar, or what? Or
Yeah, I mean, there was predecessors coming all the way from Egypt,
yeah,
33 and the third, and the Knights Templars, which is this is Knights Templars number 13. So the Knights Templars are a Christian military order, and there's
yeah.
also sorts of types and varieties of quote unquote Masons. And maybe at some point they did sort of um carry the knowledge and protect it from, all the evils and all the people who were, greedy and all that, and the Dark Ages or whatever. But
Hmm.
I think they got subverted quite a few times, and turned into other things, and it's not what it used to be in the good sense, if it ever was a good thing. But you know how things are; they're not that simple.
No,
Not
certainly not.
Yeah, they're not so black and white. So there it is, state of Oklahoma.
Well, very
Who's from
cool.
Oklahoma? Lee Tretch. Oh, actually, I can't. I shouldn't be showing this. It's actually it's the guy's name's in there. Well, probably hard to see. But yeah, I've met this guy. He was when I was in the Navy, and I was shredding some things, and this fell out. Can send you
Very,
copies.
very
But
cool.
yeah, I found the original document, man, not a copy. Because people were saying, well, blah, 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 we can't trust it. Or, well, it's a fraud. It's a fake. I'm like, no. I have a primary historical documents to prove that these people exist. That made it a lot easier to go through this maze of deceptions. And, they put a lot of stuff about Masons. Guess who puts it out? The Masons. you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they get a little chuckle about it. They get a joke out of it.
Oh
I think when things, say, when an event would happen,
Oh yeah, of
I
course, of
believe
course.
they've got their shit all prepped and all ready to go. There's people that bring stuff out. Like if you see a channel kind of breaking something that's really fucking big first, I'm really skeptical of them. What's that
Mm-hmm.
for? Burn a man.
Oh yeah, it was
I,
just like a
yeah,
2011 rites of passage.
yeah. I'd never heard it, but I'd never heard of it.
Wow, dude,
Before
it's like it's where it's at.
I know
It's like the ultimate mind control experiment for a week in the desert.
there's. Did you ever watch the movie The Wicker Man?
I have not. I know that
Well,
there are like two different versions of it, the older one and the newer one.
the older one is. I haven't seen the newer one. I've only seen the old one. And while the acting might be a little bit cringy and all the rest, it actually seems quite scary to me, to be honest with you. Because of the actual narrative and what's being played out, because you can see that actually happening. And it is a little bit of this community have been totally brainwashed into all this. They're
So
doing
if
all
you look
this
on,
crap like.
yeah, it's like the druids' magical rituals of sacrifice. So if you look in the back, it says this ticket purchaser or holder, quote unquote, you, all seeing you, voluntarily assumes all risk of property loss or damage, personal or bodily injury, serious injury or death, which may occur by attending Burning Man 2011. You hereby forever release so and so corporations harmless from any claims arising from such risks, even if caused by neglect, act, error, or omission of Burning Man or its officers, directors, employees, contractors, agents, volunteers, or representatives. So you literally like, this is worse than like a waiver for when when you have boxers or people fighting, sign waivers
Yeah.
where they're like, yeah, if we die, it's just like, it's, we know what we signed up for, that kind of thing.
Did you ever play any of those games, Assassin's Creed?
Say again?
Did you ever play any of the Assassin's Creed games? Assassin's Creed? No.
Oh, Assassin's Creed. No, I haven't.
Yeah.
But I have
Yeah.
heard about.
Because they're made by a company called Ubisoft, and
Yeah.
they definitely make use of all the conspiracy theories in their games. Especially Assassin's Creed. There was another one there they released last year, which was Division 2, and it's based in Washington DC. And there's a lot of kind of like Easter eggs you can look for, and there's flat Earth is mentioned in it and things like that. They mention a lot of the conspiracy theories, and they go into they make kind of like a false history to them all, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They include it all in their games, and they're the only gaming company that I've seen do that. But it's relentless. They put it across all their games, because I hadn't really paid any attention to Templars and all that. I mean, I knew about them obviously, but I hadn't looked into them. I had no need to. And then I started playing the Assassin's Creed games, where it's basically you're assassins and you're trying to stop the Templars.
How scene.
It's just, and they go through the whole narrative of the Templars and the symbols and all the rest of it, and they include it as part of the story of the game. It's quite interesting, it's good play, but it just fascinates me that you've got a gaming company like Ubisoft that really goes into the whole conspiratorial side of things and puts it into their games. So, right, folks. On that note, Bloody Dingo is going to leave the building and go to bed. I think I managed to get through that live stream with no nonsense, with no drama. This is quite interesting for a change. I suppose there's 25 people in here, so.
Well, there you go. I advertise this everywhere.
Here, we tell you, it used to blow my mind. See, you saw my Scooby streams out there. I was getting 60 plus, 70 plus, in my streams. It's like, what the hell are people coming there here for? Considering all the size of my subs. It's quite fascinating. And then you go along to somebody like Titus Frost or whatever, who got like fucking over 10,000 subs, and he was just about scraping 70,
Oh yeah, he's on the D Live now.
Yeah. So I see there's quite a few people moved over to D Live. If the Veils moved over there.
I mean, like, why not just multi-stream? Use it on all at once.
Right, folks. On that note, it's lights out for me, and thanks very much, Zero, for being around.
Yeah.
Chatting out there, and thank you everybody else who came over and hung around to listen to my mindless babbling.
quote unquote.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully I'll get some videos out here soon. But I'll definitely be doing another live stream, and I'll be trying to get more people to come onto it rather than just me talking. Because, come on, nobody wants to sit and listen to me just talk. So, yeah, hopefully I
That's
can
not
try and
true.
get more people.
The more is always better. Yeah.
It is, because there's plenty of streams I freaking rambled there for about 2-3 hours for crying out loud. I don't know if you ever heard the one where I was freaking I was joking about, man. It ruined everybody. Was
I listened to a
joking.
few of them.
I was joking about constipation, and it ended up talking for an hour about all these crazy wee things and whatever. Like the amount of people that got upset over that. I'm like, have you
Trigger.
not? Have you not got a sense of humor, you guys? Well, that's what here. Listen, that's what made me realize there was 4 people that got triggered straight away from that. One of them was Titus Frost. The other was lift.
Really?
Yeah, the other was Lift the Veil.
What?
Yeah, one of them was Canada, and the other was Freddie. Those 4 got triggered. Those 4 have all got a history together. I was like, come on. You tell me you all don't fucking play in the playground. Don't you know? So yeah, people got triggered over that bad. Fuck's sake, people got constipated. But the thing was that I was on medication still. I'm on medication, pain meds, and that's how it all come about. And Renee, I think, was there as well. She's the nurse, so she got it. There's quite a few people. It's actually quite funny, but yeah, it upsets people, so it does.
Yeah.
So, on that note, Renee, I'm sorry, girl. I'm gonna have to hit the sack. So yeah, it's 12 now here. But definitely do another stream. Hopefully, if I can get you on, because I want to have a good chat with you. Good chin wag. It's only time we get to talk to you, because you're always gallivanting. You're always talking to everybody else. Renee. I have to do a live stream to get some Renee time.
Oh.
Yeah. She used to talk to me all the time. Nothing. I get on a low and a goodbye, and then she tells me about her knickers. Yeah. All right, folks. On that note, thank you very much for coming over, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.
All right. Bye bye.
Cheers, Zero. Toodaloo.